So we are coming to order. I know I got a message from Mary Bargeron that she's traveling, so she's gonna be in her car, so she may, well, there she is, right there on the screen. And Nicole Miller-Strutman said that she's her class is still in session, so she could try and get here. She's not sure she's gonna make it, depending on how long the lab takes.
Karen is on her way.
Okay, Karen will not be here. Karen is.
She will be here.
Oh, she will be.
Yeah, she's on her way.
She's on. Okay. Okay, well then, looking at our agenda with, our first item is approving the minutes from the September 16th meeting. Does anybody have any amendments, or changes to the minutes?
I just had one under old business FY26 plan. I think Katie, someone's last name is spelled. There's an A instead of the first one. Anyway, check this one.
Sure.
Which line is that again, Pat?
Sorry, the first sub bullet under FY26 plan. I think Katie's last name is spelled a little bit different,
Oh,
but otherwise, that was all. I caught
okay,
content wasn't.
super. Any other amendments to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion to accept the minutes.
To accept as amended.
I see Matt. Andrea, you want me to second?
Second.
Seconded by Andrea. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, minutes are accepted. Then second item, visitor comments, which I believe you have a comment, please.
All I'm on about is if anybody wants one of these, feel free to take it. It's mainly about population. I think sustainability is the most important issue facing us. But very few people really are interested. And this is from the negative population growth group. And I'm cleaning house, but I hate to throw this stuff away. To me, it's almost like gold. But I don't know what it's gonna take to wake people up. And like I was just saying to John, who stepped out, that parents should be very vitally interested in this topic. But or maybe I don't associate with the right people, but nobody really seems concerned about it. So if anybody wants to take one of these, when we close up, feel free.
Okay,
For the,
thank you.
for the minutes, would you please state your name?
Joy Renish, Renisch.
Thank you.
And it's from the negative population growth group. I think it's a silly name, but there you are.
Here with her,
You're a winner.
her driver.
You're a
Her
winner.
concierge.
Okay, great. Okay, well, you're welcome to stay. You are welcome to go. Your choice.
But like I say, I think it's the most important issue facing the world. And very few people are concerned, as far as I can tell. And what that group is on about is population, but we're not for abortion, we're not for war. But we're kind of taking, I think somebody said that it's almost like a cancer, the way we're populating and destroying the earth. So with those happy words, I'm sorry myself. I wish it wasn't so.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing and I think we're all on the same page, trying to have the earth be sustainable so it can continue to support life moving forward. And it's gonna take a lot of work to make that happen.
Well, I think, I'll just finish. I think I've written to the Webster Kirkwood Times twice, asking for a column. I think we ought to have a column maybe once a month in the paper about sustainability. That this should be front and center.
if you have any opposition around this table on that. Okay, well then,
Until we could have a public meeting. Sorry, then I'll be quiet. Why isn't there a public meeting? Maybe once a year or twice a year. Where this is really brought to the fore. Like I said to another gentleman there, I said, parents should be very, very interested, overwhelmed with this matter of sustainability. That, you know, for their children. I don't have any children. I'm not strong enough. I think it takes a mighty strong person to raise children and deal with the problems in the world. Now, I'll zip it up.
You would be a good chair to start a public meeting.
No, zip it up now.
okay, well, thanks again for your time. Our next agenda item is a update from our Councilwoman Pam Bliss.
Great. I have several items today, so bear with me. First of all, I just wanted to say congratulations on the EV car show. I think this is the first meeting we've had since then. It's excellent, very well attended. It seemed like all the people that attended were engaged. And we were all, every time I looked around, we were all talking and speaking with somebody. So it was a really good event. I mean, it was great to have the visual aids of the actual cars there. Plus, if you're a car nerd, you would like it, or if you're a sustainability nerd, you would like it. So I think that's awesome. And I saw it's coming up on the agenda, so I figured there's going to be more conversation about that. But I just wanted to congratulate everyone who worked on that.
Crank the whole thing out to make it a little bit.
Thank you. Okay, so coming up, just wanted to let you know about some things happening around the city. The sculpture park, Jerry Welch Sculpture Park will be rededicated in a ceremony on Saturday. And I do not have all the details of these events, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So this Saturday will be the sculpture park renaming. The last council meeting, the comprehensive plan was passed. And this next council meeting, which will be tomorrow, council will be speaking about implementation, goals and tactics, and making priorities. Wanted to let you know that the Oxford Bend Park, which is the previous McDonald's site at, was that Big Bend in Oxford Avenue, that construction is starting. The 29th of October, there will be a community engagement session at the recreation complex for the performance park and skate park. So that'll be an open house from 5 to 7. Encourage everybody to attend that to help give feedback on different thoughts for those two projects. So that's kind of the remaining aspect of what's related to the pool renovation. So we're being mindful and completing that whole project there at the recreation complex. This Thursday at 6 at Jeannie Klockner's is going to be the meet and greet with sustainability and green space. So just encourage you all to double check that location and let Jeannie know whether you will be there. I attended the open house this past Thursday for Great Rivers Greenway, and they showed the kind of the scheme that seems to be the favored scheme. They're working through some of those details as far as lane widths and whether there's going to be parking there or if they're going to eliminate the parking. But it was a great event. It was nice to have the details. They had representatives from SWT, the landscape architect, MSD, GRG. And it was also just good to know that 77% of the attendees that filled out the feedback form are in favor of, yeah. So that's a good number. And then also wanted to let you know that the Stormwater Commission applications are open and that's available on the website. And so if anybody knows a professional in the field, they'd be encouraged to attend, or if you are a well-knowing, experienced resident as well. And that's everything we have for today.
Quick follow-up question. You were saying that there is a get together about the pool. One thing I was wondering about is, did that presentation include anything on how the solar panels are performing there at the pool?
Yeah, it was actually, it's coming up. It's it's an open house coming up. It was not, to talk about the pools. I was basically referencing the pool because these two things, the performance part and the skate park, are technically probably adjacent to the Recplex and or the swimming pool. So that's all I meant.
It's to make sure that the performance park reflects what the community wants to see in
Yeah.
terms of amenities.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Does anyone know, is there any
Data on that?
data or any analysis on?
Not yet. I mean, I think we could probably get that information to
We'll-
talk about, to present to council and to the commission here.
We'll see.
But I
what-
think
we'll
we're
see-
just-
yeah.
Have they installed the full, have they been in a full year?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We have to see how long they're.
We'll look into it. We'll
Yeah.
see what we can find.
Yeah.
If there's something to report back, we will report it back.
Or you'll let us know that there's none.
That's right, that's
Need
right.
more time. Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So that's all I have.
Okay, super. Next agenda item, staff liaison update, David Brooks.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to echo what the council member said about the EV car show. My wife and I attended it as visitors, and it was great. It was nice to be able to talk to the folks that own and have been using these cars on a regular basis to see
Yeah.
not just how awesome they are, but what other things you run into just on a day-to-day basis, problems that you might have. And it was just very informative, and we're considering perhaps when we replace our one of our cars to get an EV. And it was great because you go to a dealership and of course they're going to try to sell you their car, but to talk to somebody that actually owns it, that is unique, and we appreciate it.
There were a lot of good takeaways.
Yes, absolutely. Something else I wanted to just touch on briefly. This is something John and I spoke about offline, and that is the solar rebates are still available. And actually, Sean could probably speak to this as well. But I think there isn't a lot of public understanding of that they're available. And maybe you don't have to talk about it today, but maybe at a future meeting, we could have maybe a brainstorming session on ways that we might communicate that better to the general public, just to get the word out there. So
Do you know how much longer? Is it at the end of the year or is it like how much longer?
it's through the current budget year at the very least.
Through July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that through the county?
Through the
No, it's a city. We have a little rebate.
I think the county also has something to contribute on that. Different neighborhoods who have HOAs on allowing them.
Right.
We just ran that in all nationwide.
But I think the critical issue is how do we get the word out that money is available is the key.
David, can I jump in here? One thing that occurred to me, and the interesting thing where this came up was at the EV car show, I was talking to a gentleman who is at Straight Up Solar. And he said, oh, we just did 2 installs in Webster. And I said, oh, did they get the rebate? And he said, rebate's over, isn't it? He
Yeah.
said, no, it's not over, Eric. And so then he calls him down and said, yo. But I wonder, do you have to get a permit to put in solar?
You do,
There's always a
and
way
it-
the link goes to.
But you do have to get a permit, but it's up to the applicant to put down that they're seeking the rebate. And there's far too many permits that come in for our folks at the front desk to say, oh, did you apply for this? Did you apply for that? There's just too many that come through to be able to hold everybody's hand like that. But that's not to say we can't do a better job getting the word out, whether it's through social media, through the WKT, just talking to your neighbors, I mean, all sorts of things.
Yeah, I was thinking WKT, I was thinking an article that featured a couple of Webster residents who've had solar. and just tell their story.
Yeah.
And that's, oh, by the way.
And that would be a great human interest story, but
Yeah.
you don't need to convince us of that. You need to convince some folks over that's gonna drive clicks.
Yeah, yeah.
If I might add, there were, John, there are two people that we need to send checks to for solar panels downstairs. There were some emails last week about
Those
that,
are the
so
two
I
that-
would
yeah.
imagine it's those two.
Yeah, those are the two that,
Yeah.
that we informed
That's
them
good.
that, yeah.
That's good, yeah.
Maybe just quickly, if we make sure that all the local installers know about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Go, right?
Yeah.
And we do have a way to reach out to like electricians, for instance.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have it narrowed down to who's a solar electrician versus, something more broad, but we can certainly get the word out to just the trade in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
The other thing I wanted to mention was, something that you all discussed at your previous meeting, and that was the subcommittees. And, when I was putting together the agenda with John, last week, we thought, might it be a good idea to have a standing item on the agenda for subcommittee updates? If you have nothing to say, that's fine, but if you do have something to say, at least it's on the agenda and the general public knows that there might be information coming forward from those subcommittees. I see a lot of heads nodding, so I'll assume that's okay. Other than that, John, unless there was something else you and I were talking about, I don't,
That's all I can think of now. If I remember anything before the end of the meeting, I'll pop up.
I did remember something.
Uh-huh.
That's okay. I knew when I finished, I was like, there's something else. I just have these stickers I will pass around. Feel free to take one. These are the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations, and this is just a little sticker, the reminder. So these are I think 15 goals that are set by the UN to be taking place by 2030. And these started in 2025, or 2015. So this is just a nice little reminder. There's symbols for each of them, and I was given this by my German exchange student when I visited him a couple of weeks ago in Germany. His school is really actively pursuing that, so it's just kind of nice to see that the young folk in Europe are working on it. Yep. So here, go ahead and take one. You just have to.
Just quickly on the subcommittees, I was not here last week and I don't know how that all landed exactly. I do think that I might be on 3 of them. And that might be a little more than I can pick up, just because of other things I've had going on.
Actually, on two, community engagement and transportation and mobility.
So
That's
space. Is that at one point or another, I think I mentioned I
I
wanted to
don't
do
know
it,
about the
but
green space community.
that's okay. It's all good. As long as it's just two.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too much.
So
Probably
that's a
not.
good solar, community engagement's a good solar.
That's, yeah. So if you want to refer it to that subcommittee.
Okay,
I'm
Okay,
seeing the
super.
final list that was updated on September 15th. And as of right now, it only includes your name for community engagement and development.
Only, so not traffic or not,
We do not have the transportation and mobility is
Yeah.
one, and that's Matt. Oh, I'm sorry, you are on there.
okay,
I'm so sorry, just those two.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, super. Well then, anything else, David?
No.
In your report? So then, under old business, first item is the EV charging ordinance. Which was, that's shorthand for saying when you build a new house, you gotta put the wires in. So that if somebody wants to then add a charger, they can do it without getting play. And.
Are you saying if you build a new house, then you have to have one of these chargers?
You got to run the wires for it. And have the breaker box that
In
would
case.
support it, but then, you don't have to. You don't have to. tear up the wall and to run and behind it to get to wherever you want to put your truck.
In the packet, there's a draft memo from you to John Wagner, basically saying that the Sustainability Committee recommends the adoption of the policy as previously discussed. It's about halfway through the packet. And I think all we're looking for from you all is just affirmation that this is indeed what you want John to bring back to council. Once again, I don't, do you want to make formal action on that?
Yeah, why don't we have any discussion before we vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Someone has to make the motion.
Oh, yeah.
I move that we accept the memo as written by John Hickey to
John Wagner.
John, well,
The Johns.
John Wagner.
I looked at it.
John,
From one John to another.
memo.
from John to John.
Agenda
Yes.
to, that we recommend that is forward.
I second that.
Okay, moved and seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by no. Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, super. Next item of old business, pumpkin smash.
Sean, did you want to speak about the conversation about the pumpkin smash or no?
I think the community engagement subcommittee.
Thank you.
Sure. So we discussed our plans via email. And a few of us checked with different vendors to see if we could get something costing less than $500 to collect pumpkins for this year's pumpkin smash. And although there are 2 venues available or vendors available, the cost savings we don't feel justifies the fact that we would only have 6 64-gallon rollaway carts to collect pumpkins. And those rollaway carts aren't really sized ideally to squeeze pumpkins in for one, and having only 6 to 9 of them probably would be insufficient. So we were really hoping to have a vote of approval for getting the 20-yard roll-off dumpster that we've had in the past from St. Louis Composting, and hoping that we could generate more publicity this year by contacting schools in the area to put the promotion in their publications. That was Amna's wonderful idea. And then we were also considering contacting the city of Brentwood to see if they would like to promote participating in the event. Because really, we just need more pumpkins to fill the cart or the dumpster. And Karen has found a grant that we hope to apply for next year to offset the costs. In addition to that, we were thinking if Brentwood is interested in participating this year, in the future, we may ask if they'd be interested in collaborating and sharing the cost.
So actually, it's Sean who is responsible for funding that grant and passing it along to us. So thank you. It's the, it is the SWMD, which stands for
Solid Waste Management District.
Thank you, Solid Waste Management. That's good. It's a grant application that would have to be put in by the city. That said, it's not going to be very onerous because of the scope of what we're asking for is enough money to rent a dumpster and to do some marketing on it, which we haven't had any money for marketing, so that would be those things. So it's gonna maybe come to a total of $1,000, and they go up hundreds of thousands. And so this would be a really simple, easy application that I'm willing to write. Let's do that. As long as I could get some help from people who know people in Brentwood, Rock Hill, Glendale,
to talk with about collaborating, as we really would like to send that collaboration out so that we can fill that. I think it went in last year, it's less than half full, is that right? Yeah.
And I found with grants, when you collaborate with other communities, you score higher.
They encourage that. It's due December 11th, and I know that it would need to go through the city process, so I would need to know when my part would have to be done for it to get through that process, and if it's okay with the city to do that.
It's okay, I'll follow up with you in an email just to kind of get the finer points.
And my understanding is the city of Brentwood has a sustainability commission as well, so that would be a place to go. They may have it names. So
I looked on their website, I did not see a commission, but I think they do have their own folks that are, active in just sustainability in general.
There is a commission, Andy Burkemper, I believe is, and he was engaged for the EV car show. He's actually a Brentwood resident on their sustainability board, maybe, I'm not sure what it's called, but they do have a formal group. And he was going to be involved in our car show when it was in April, because one of the dealerships that John had reached out to him because he bought a car from them. So even though he was a Brentwood resident, and I'm not sure if when the car show was rescheduled, if he still participated, but I think he was trying to. John, do you remember Andy Burkemp?
Oh, yeah, he rounded up a bunch of his
Yeah.
buddies in Brentwood and brought it to
Yeah.
bring cars.
So he's on their commission.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's a woman who's on their city council who sits on that commission. This is going back a couple of years. I don't know if she still sits up to it. And their parks department is very progressive to the park thing, so I think they'd be.
Yeah.
Organized.
What are the dates for the pumpkin smash?
November 8th to November 14th. The smash itself, the event would be Saturday, November 8th from 8 to noon. And we would have the dumpster available through, I believe it's Friday, November 14th.
Okay.
And
We
as of
lined up volunteers now, since this is gonna happen before our next meeting.
yes, that'd be great. Last year we had a schedule, so if people could take 1 to 2 hour shifts, that would figured out a way to make that work.
What are the hours on the 8th?
8 to noon.
Should folks reach out to you to volunteer time?
Sure.
And this is at the service center again?
Yes.
Sign up for the 8 AM shift.
Okay.
And when will the dumpster be dropped off? So
Friday, November 7th. Yes.
I'll tell Public Works. Okay, because we'll have to determine the right location. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, we've got the Ripple dumpster. And the one spot, which is where we.
Was it in the front
was
lot
there
last time, or was it in the publicly accessible lot previous? Okay.
I've spoken with Claire, and last time we spoke, the dumpsters. But we obviously.
Is the cost $500 then for that? Oh, yes.
Any other, do you need anything else from this committee on this?
I'm assuming everyone's okay with that expense.
Sure, it's going after the grant.
And with going the brand news.
Okay, yeah, looks like we got consensus.
Oh, I was gonna.
Actually, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, thank you. something we didn't talk about, I don't think, is is there a plan to make an actual flyer? Or has anyone, or have we talked about that? I may have missed it. Or can the marketing person for the city do that?
Well, Jordan Rowe his plate is pretty full right now. So if you have anything already, we can certainly make sure that he distributes it. Otherwise, if you want to craft a short narrative, or if you have any graphics already, we can throw it together pretty easy. We wouldn't do a flyer necessarily, but we would include it in, on the social media pages as well as,
There's
in the
probably a
newsletters.
graphic from last year. I'll look it up while we're talking
Sure.
to see if there's one on Instagram from last year.
Send it directly to me and I'll make sure it gets to Jordan.
I updated the language also with the new dates
Sure.
and just tweaked it a little bit so I can forward that along.
Oh, you have it? So you have it? The
Yes.
graphic?
Not the graphic, just the blurb.
Oh, okay, nice.
Send it to me and I'll make sure Jordan gets it.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me I don't know I know he only has so much bandwidth, but a short video of kids smashing pumpkins, that would tell us.
I will raise that with him, but to ask him to do things on his off hours is a little trickier, but we'll see if we can do it.
I may have some photos from a couple of years ago
Sure.
too, just from being there, so I'll.
But the smashing really don't.
Well.
Who doesn't like to? Yeah.
Yes, we're
I mean,
seeing again the
who
thing.
doesn't like to smash a pumpkin?
9-pound hammer too. Those pumpkins are,
They're hard, they're tough.
I mean, you can throw them down on the ground and
Yeah.
they're just kind of. Front of the service center.
Where
Waymark.
the glass recycling is?
Sorry, John, what was that? The glass recycling?
Well, she's trying to figure out where we're talking about.
Where the
pumpkin
service
smash
center is.
Go, so we're trying to give her some markers.
You know where the BP is on Brentwood? Okay, so that's the corner of Brentwood and Thornton. Okay, if you turn left there on Thornton, that first street on the right is Waymeyer. When you follow Waymeyer, right next to the Lorraine Davis Pavilion, that's the service center that houses Public Works and the Parks Department. Good to know, thank you.
So that's recycle all your glass.
I give you a link.
Recycle.
I give you a link on
Right.
Instagram. Do you have Instagram? So
Yes,
yeah.
It breaks.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in an email right now.
That's fine. Yeah.
Make sure I don't recycle my house in the bin anymore.
Yeah, okay, anything else on pumpkin smash, is that? What do you need, Anna? Okay, cool. Thank you, then, item 6, new business front facing garage, this is the introduction to, I guess, a part of the code that's being examined for potential.
So just a bit of background, you all might be aware that there's a new process for when there's ordinance or potential ordinances going through that might affect, like say zoning, for instance. It goes before sustainability, green space, architectural review board, and HPC historic. So everybody has an opportunity just to comment on it. Those comments all get assembled, and eventually a recommendation goes back to council. Council then determines whether or not they want to move forward with a change, and then it goes through the normal process for a code change. So with that, Mr. Wagner is here to present.
Thank you, David. So good afternoon, everybody. And this is similar to what the EV charging was. There's some recommendations of 3 specific ones for the front facing garages. And at next month's meeting, we'll ask you to maybe put something together relative to these to adopt, or to maybe not adopt is the right word, maybe to say this is a commission's thoughts on this particular topic. So you have a presentation that's 3 or 4 slides long, and I want to focus basically on the last one, the current code regulating front facing and other garages. That's one I'm going to focus on, as well as the first page of the memo to the boards and commissions from Elliot Leibson back on September 4th. So there are three specific items that would happen relative as far as the potential code change relative to front facing garages. And the wording it looks a little tricky on this. I had to read it a dozen times to get it straight myself. And I'll go through each one of those real quick. And the other slides have some background and some history that you might have read as well, but I'll take the bulk of my time talking about the three items and how it relates to the last slide. So, item number one is to eliminate the requirement that 40% of the homes on both sides of the block front must have front-facing garages in order for a homeowner to apply for another. And you could read that, like I said, you could read that a dozen times and try to figure out what it was. But that's what I'm going to call the anything goes possibility. So if say there are 10 homes on a block on both sides of the street, just to make the math easy. If four of those homes have a front-facing garage, that's a requirement now that there needs to be 44 of those homes in order to get another. So this provision will get rid of that 40% threshold. So if there's one home of that 10 that has a front-facing garage, you can apply for another one, as long as it meets the city standards that are on that last slide. Single-family dwellings with front elevation widths of 44 feet or greater, so on, so on, so on. And if 7 of those 10 homes have a front-facing garage, if you're number 8, so be it. You can have a front-facing garage. So that requirement would go away altogether.
But just to give you a little context, the original requirement that at least 40% of the homes on both sides of a block must have a front-facing garage in order to get one actually dates back to when I was here 20 years ago. And there was some concern that neighborhood character was changing. And the thinking was, well, if 40% of the homes on the block already have front-facing garages, what's one more? What's two more? But if fewer than that have front-facing garages, that's really not the context of where you want to have front-facing garages. And as John was saying, this first bullet item would be to eliminate that minimum requirement.
So if one homeowner has the front-facing garage, number 2 can go in and have one. If 7 of them do, then obviously number 8 can go in as well. So what if none? Then you could be the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
As it stands today, though, 40% have to have.
And that may go back to the November 2006.
Yep.
On the history of the previous slide, 2006, November 2006, City Council approves ordinance number 8519, establishing regulations. So that's number 1. Does that make sense? At least as a standalone item, anyways.
Quick question. So this is purely an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, character.
There's not an environmental concern or something like that.
No.
I'm just making it clear.
Quality, just and children playing and things like that, there would be increased possibilities of problems.
And in pervious.
So somewhat of a safety
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Increases the,
Pavement, right?
Or the
pavement.
potential for pervious pavement.
yeah,
Because if you have like a carriage house behind your house, if that's the requirement, you're gonna need to have a longer driveway of whatever hard surface that driveway might be.
yeah.
Is there a certain age of home that fits this criteria, that has to be a historical value?
No,
The type of garage that is attached?
No, and more often than not, this is more has to do with somebody building a new house.
Yeah. As long, and like I said, number 1 or number 10 has to meet those front elevation guidelines that are on that last slide.
So essentially it makes it easier to.
This would make it easier
Yeah.
to, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in essence, that's what it boils down to. The second one, eliminating the option of ARB, Architectural Review Board, approving a front-facing garage that is larger than what the code allows if 40% or more of the homes on both sides of the block front already exceed the code standards. So in this case, again, let's take our theoretical 10 homes. If 5 of those homes have standards that exceed these standards, the ARB could approve the next one. If 40% do, if 5 of them do, if you're number 6, the ARB could approve that wider than 44 feet and so on and so on. Not saying they would, but they have the ability to approve that. If this stands, if this number 2 stands, that approval to get from ARB would go away. You can't do that. Even if you have 5 homes that have, say, 4-car garages, let's go wild for a second. If four of those homes have 4-car garages, right now you could come in and say to the ARB, well, gosh, they have 4-car garages. I'd like to have a 4-car garage as well. So you're number 5. Everything's fine. Under this, that goes away. You could not have a number 5.
Has to be the code no matter what.
Correct. You can come in with a 2-car garage that meets these standards, but you could not have your 4-car garage.
I mean, there is a little bit of a what if, or because you can go for any of these, they can go to the Board of Adjustment for a
Correct.
variance. So that's
But
the
for what it's worth, though, a variance, though, you have to demonstrate a hardship.
correct.
And it
Yeah.
would be hard to, in my mind, say, I need a 4-car garage is a hardship versus a 3-car garage, but I'm not on the air.
Yeah, well, a 4-car garage would be too big for meeting these.
Yeah, that
standards
was, I
anyway.
think
So
a more
let's say-
reasonable approach would be a 3-car.
Yeah.
Or just a larger garage in general. If you happen to have 2 big trucks and it might not fit in your standard size garage.
Just make it deeper. Back to back.
So number 3 is much easier. And I do have a handout, and I only printed, if you folks can share one. So down there, please, if you don't mind, I should have printed all 10 of these, I didn't. This one states that, adding the requirements at the front side of a projecting front entry garage must be architecturally integrated with the rest of the front. So picture's worth 1,000 words. The top photo has A and B with the brown home. You couldn't have B. The bottom one is more, it would be preferable because the side facing that is perpendicular to the street, as it were, has to be made of the same material as the front of the garage and the front of the house.
If you have a brick house, you couldn't use vinyl siding on that one
Yeah.
side, basically.
Yeah. So the top picture in this image would be not good, I guess, for lack of a better term.
The objection being that it's protruding too much. Is that correct?
No, it's just it's seen from there, and it's just not architecturally integrated with the rest of the home. So these down here, they have the same brick as the front of the house, and up here you'd have a nice maybe wood front, and then you just got vinyl on the side.
Okay.
So they're trying to.
from that.
There already are regulations speaking to how far you can project. This is more of just the aesthetic side of it, whether it has to be the same material, visual aesthetic material.
Just quality issue, basically. So those are the 3 potential code changes for front-facing garage regulations. I'd be happy to answer any questions if I can.
I just find front-facing garages generally irritating.
You find them what?
Generally irritating, and it seems to me they reduce socialization because you drive into your garage and then you walk from your garage into your house and you kill the street activity. Is that something that is being considered in this process?
Well, I think the other side is that if you don't have front facing garage, if you don't have a garage at all, then you have more cars parked on the streets. I can tell you the neighborhood that I live in, there are so many cars on the street now. It's essentially a 1-lane street much of the time. So I'm actually in favor of getting more parked cars off the street. I get what you're saying, but I think there's another side to it of And you talk about safety, I get the safety part of it, but there's also a safety problem of having all these cars parked there, you know? You can't see kids about to step out into the street if all these cars are parked. So I would say that's the other side.
Right, so if there was an option though, whether you could put it in the back, on the side of the house or in front, that might be something that we think about a little. It really does.
I would say that's preferable, but probably most people aren't gonna want to do that. It's,
Yeah.
What are you asking from the commission?
Today's not really meant to be the deep discussion, but think about it. Right? And then at your next meeting, hopefully you can put together your thoughts. Give them to John, and then that'll be put together, like I was saying, to go to council.
Yeah, similar to the EV charging, just kind of let it sink in a little bit, mull it over some and.
Drive around town and take a
Yeah.
look at the neighborhoods and see what you think. Because there are a lot of front entry garages in Webster. It's not the predominant way you see houses designed, but they're here.
another question. Do you have a code for just a driveway without a garage? Like, can it go as far back as you want or?
I believe don't you have to have two enclosed spaces or no? Or is it just two off-street spaces? I think you're required to have two off-street
Yeah.
spaces,
I don't think you're required.
but you're not required to have an enclosed garage
I
per
think that
se.
can generally go,
So you basically have to have a driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a pad, I guess.
Yeah.
On new construction.
Yes.
Yeah, cause yeah, my code in there, my house didn't.
Yeah, we're not going back and forcing people to.
No.
Not yet, no.
But you're probably grandfathered in or something.
Well, I don't think do you need to have a,
Well, new
Code
construction
New
requires it.
construction, so you're
So
like
it's
grandfathered.
it's a
like, wait.
legal non-conforming is what that's called, yeah.
I kind of like that time.
I got a question. So I was reading through the memo and I was reading the item 1, item 2, item 3 portions. And after reading them, I thought I understood what this provision was, but then as you explained it, it was the complete opposite of what it actually is.
Worse.
Like the items kind of made it sound like, you know, item 2 says, I am concerned that over time this provision will lead to a proliferation of front-facing garages that exceed the standards set by the code, which would go against the character of the city. So I thought so I'm just like confused about like the what's the purpose? Because that makes it sound like not having front-facing garages is preserving the character of the city. But if that is a justification for the provision, then it doesn't seem to match up.
Well, number 2 specifically says if the garage is bigger than what the code allows, then that would take away from the character, historic preservation aspect of things. So that doesn't say you can't have a front facing garage, you just couldn't have one larger than what the code allows for, which it currently does allow that.
So the first provision would certainly allow more front-facing garages. Eliminating the second provision does limit how big those garages could be. And then I forgot the third thing. The architectural.
What other commissions are looking at this? Are
Uh,
you presenting this to?
Green Space, ARB, and HPC.
Okay,
Architectural Review
Planning
Board and
Commission
Historic
as well.
Preservation and Planning Commission.
okay.
Which ultimately, if this change does go forward, it would go through Planning Commission because they are sort of the keeper of the zoning ordinance.
So by our meeting next month, we'll want to have some cogent feedback.
Yes,
on this system.
correct.
Okay. So we're not there yet, obviously, but we've got a month to think about it. Does anybody have any other questions to try and untangle what this actually means? Okay, it seems like everyone's had their questions and super.
Thank
Anything
you.
else, David, you want to finish off on that?
No, beyond that, just you can go on to your next agenda item and see that.
Okay, Next agenda item is noting that our next meeting is going to be November this. Okay, great here.
We have a couple of minutes. Would it be possible to give the subcommittee report for, the, building?
Sure.
Unfortunately, we had a little mix up of our schedules. Mary and John and I are on the, building,
Built environment.
built environment thinking. Subcommittee and, Mary and I got together and what we ended up doing, which is something that I would just recommend that others think about doing. We took the targets that are listed in Forever Webster Groves and mapped them to the implementing Forever Webster Groves document. So that we have a matrix is that we know that, for instance, under private residential buildings, promote energy efficient process, projects, that fits into, number 3, which is expand solar rebates, and number 5, which is update building codes. So we match them like that. We haven't gone, and then I put it into a spreadsheet with the, it's not that hard, it sounds hard. With the targets listed as we have them here in the documents. And then I, underneath that, as a subheadings, I put what we're actually doing. So then what we have to do is just put in time, so we can do it. So we didn't do anything extra beyond what we had already sort of talked about doing, was mapping. But at least we have a clear idea of the exact bullets in the Forever Webster Groves that we are working on. It's the bottom line.
Which reminds me of something related. We were talking a little earlier in the meeting about solar rebates. Could we get an account of how much money is left in that?
I thought I emailed that to you.
You might have,
Give me a second.
and I could have flat out.
What I said was really confusing. I'm happy to help.
There's about $22,000 set aside, so
Oh, and then as a
there
follow-up,
have been so few people asking for them.
are there? Theoretically, could there be a list of people who put them up, but not being aware of this, haven't asked for that?
That might be a little bit more difficult to figure out. Just the way we track permits, I don't know that we could sort it by solar panels versus just an electrical permit. I don't think there's a special solar permit. per se.
I'll check.
We could look, but I can't promise that one.
Okay. Okay, so that underscores that this is something worth promoting because 22,000, that's 44 solar panels.
I can assure you it's been a drop in the bucket in terms of, people asking for them versus how much is available. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that bucket had been, I think that's the bucket's gotten bigger.
Over time.
Yeah, over time. I think there was originally other purposes for, so it got divided. Now
Gotcha.
we're going back to the solar only.
Okay.
But hopefully the community engagement subcommittee will come up with some brilliant ideas on how to promote it.
Okay, good.
I'm so sorry.
Good.
I guess if we want to do things that aren't on the agenda, come through, if we want to speak to something, how would we do that? In some places, you ask right up front, does anybody have anything else they would put on the agenda?
So generally speaking,
That's a good
you
question.
shouldn't do that because the agenda is advertised. And for you to speak about something that wasn't on the advertised agenda can be a problem.
Okay.
And that's not to say there couldn't be, say, does anybody have anything they want to talk about next time? But don't go into the discussion other than to say, I want to talk about X, Y, Z.
How far in advance would we need to get the items to you're doing the?
I am doing the agenda. We
Yeah.
send them out a week ahead of time. So ideally, if you get the agenda, I'll get them to John and John will get them to me.
So if we mention something at this meeting, it can go into the agenda for next meeting.
If
Then we're allowed to talk about it,
potentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
potential.
Well, I mean, if John so moves to have me put it on the agenda.
And I have one final comment, which isn't an agenda item. We welcome you as
Thank you.
our liaison to the city. One of the things that I am concerned, but that we have an employee of the city who is the sustainability coordinator. And to me, it makes sense that the sustainability coordinator is a participant in the Sustainability Commission. And I just wanted to put that on the record.
So Sean is still a technical advisor to the commission. Although I'm the liaison, she is, because she does have that expertise. So yes, she's a technical advisor to the commission.
Okay, so she'll be here at the meetings.
Well, as time permits, Sean works 20 hours towards sustainability. So if it allows for her to do that, she could certainly do.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other pearls of wisdom before we adjourn?
Well, I'm just going to say, I'm on the subcommittee, but I have not heard anything about any meetings, so. And I did miss the first 20 minutes of the meeting. Maybe you covered that already. That's why I'm throwing it out.
Somebody just has to take the initiative and do it.
Yeah, and do
Okay.
you have the list of the other folks, which might include me, that is on the committee that you're on?
I have it on my screen. See, Tim, you were on the natural environment subcommittee. That includes, myself and Nicole. My apologies, we've been hot and heavy with pumpkin smash planning, so I have not been as attentive.
And I'll ask
We'll
you
wait till
all,
after Halloween.
I'll ask you all if you want to have an agenda item on the next meeting about sort of like the operation of these subcommittees. Perhaps you need to have a chair, a secretary, whatever you think is appropriate. Maybe that's a discussion to have at the next meeting.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
And we're gonna have on the agenda reports from each subcommittee.
Yes, yeah. It'll be a standing item from
Many
here on out.
reports, yeah. I'm thinking,
Well,
'cause
no, but-
That'll be a standing item.
Nothing to-
Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay, cool. Anything else we need to cover? Okay, well, we are adjourned.
You gotta ask for a motion.
Oh. Ask for a motion to adjourn. Does anybody make a motion? Sure. Matt makes a motion. Do we have a second? Tim's a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, we're adjourned.